Ferrari heads into the Chinese Grand Prix with a mountain of expectations, especially after the setbacks in Melbourne. A disappointing weekend left fans frustrated, but a statement from team boss Frédéric Vasseur has reignited hopes in Maranello. However, with McLaren's MCL-39 proving to be far more competitive than anticipated, can Ferrari find the pace they need under these vastly different conditions in Shanghai? And more importantly, can they reclaim their lost momentum? There's no denying that Ferrari had a rough outing in Australia. Strategic missteps and poor execution cost them dearly, leaving a lot of potential untapped. But instead of dwelling on what went wrong, the team is shifting its focus to improvement and learning from past mistakes. That relentless drive to push forward has always been one of Ferrari's defining traits. While it hasn't always delivered immediate success, it keeps them in the fight. Vasseur's latest remarks have sparked optimism among the fans, as he firmly believes that the SF-25 has yet to showcase its full potential. He assured supporters that Melbourne was not a true representation of Ferrari's capabilities, and that Shanghai will be a fresh start. His confidence has given Ferrari's engineers, drivers, and fanbase renewed hope. However, similar statements have come from the team before, words that mean little unless the performance on track backs them up. So where does Ferrari need to improve the most heading into the Chinese GP? The biggest concern remains tire degradation. One of Ferrari's biggest struggles in Melbourne was excessive tire wear. Compared to Red Bull, McLaren, and even Mercedes, their performance dropped significantly as the stints progressed. The car lacked grip, forcing the drivers to push harder just to maintain position. This aggressive approach led to faster tire wear, ultimately compromising their ability to fight for key overtakes. It was a frustrating scenario, one that saw Charles Leclerc struggle to make up lost ground after a tough qualifying session. Ferrari wasn't the only team facing difficulties, but their inability to adapt quickly proved costly. While rivals managed to find a way to balance tire management with race pace, Ferrari's strategy seemed out of sync. This was especially evident in how Leclerc and Carlos Sainz were unable to respond effectively to the competition's moves. It's an issue that needs immediate attention if they want to be in contention at the front in China. Adding to the concern is the communication between the drivers and the pit wall. In Melbourne, we saw inconsistencies in the way information was relayed, one of the worst things that can happen in high-pressure race situations. A prime example of this came when teams had to react to the changing weather conditions. Mercedes, for instance, gave conflicting reports to their drivers about incoming rain, which led to poor strategic calls. Ferrari cannot afford similar blunders if they want to challenge McLaren and Red Bull in Shanghai. Now, with stable weather expected in China, Ferrari has an opportunity to reset and focus purely on performance. But can they take full advantage of this fresh start? Unlike the unpredictable conditions in Melbourne, the Chinese Grand Prix is set to take place under much more stable weather. Forecasts suggest dry conditions with track temperatures ranging between 11 degrees and 26 degrees throughout the weekend. With no rain expected, Ferrari won't have to worry about sudden weather changes disrupting their strategy. Instead, their primary focus should be on optimizing their race setup and improving overall consistency. Despite the challenges in Australia, Ferrari's pace wasn't completely off the mark. While they struggled compared to Red Bull and McLaren, they were still in the mix with Mercedes. However, that's far from where they were expected to be. Based on preseason testing and early predictions, Ferrari was supposed to be battling at the front, not stuck in midfield fights with Williams and Aston Martin. That's why the team heads into China with a point to prove. Another key area Ferrari must refine is their in-race decision-making. The strategy errors in Melbourne showed that they still have work to do in this department. While Red Bull and McLaren executed their plans flawlessly, making the right pit calls at the right moments, Ferrari hesitated. Those small miscalculations made a big difference in the final race outcome. If they want to be contenders for race wins, they must show sharper tactical awareness in Shanghai. With the championship race still wide open, Ferrari cannot afford another missed opportunity. The track conditions in China will be very different from Australia, but whether that plays to their advantage remains to be seen. Another major factor Ferrari needs to watch out for in Shanghai is the recent technical regulation change by the FIA. The governing body has once again tightened restrictions on rear wing flexibility, reducing the allowed movement from 2 meter to just 0.5 mm with a slight tolerance of 0.25 mm for China due to the short notice. However, from Suzuka onwards, there will be zero tolerance. Any deviation beyond 0.5 mm could lead to immediate disqualification. This change is particularly concerning for Ferrari and McLaren, as they were the teams most scrutinized over this matter during preseason testing. There were suspicions that both squads were still exploiting a form of the mini DRS advantage, something that was supposed to be eliminated under previous regulations. If Ferrari has indeed been relying on this mechanism for performance gains, they may find themselves in a difficult situation, as the FIA enforces stricter rules. Beyond the technical side, all eyes will also be on Lewis Hamilton, as he continues his adaptation to the SF-25. Scoring just a single point on his Ferrari debut was far from ideal, and the seven-time world champion knows he must deliver a stronger result in Shanghai. The good news is that with a much more stable track surface and no rain expected, he'll have a better opportunity to fine-tune his approach and push the car closer to its limits. But if Ferrari fails to show significant progress, it could raise serious questions about their ability to fight for the championship this season. For Hamilton, the challenge isn't just about adjusting to a new car. It's about making sure Ferrari maximizes its potential before the title race slips away. While Melbourne's tricky conditions may have masked the true performance of the SF-25, China will offer a much clearer picture. If Ferrari still struggles to match Red Bull and McLaren, it could signal deeper issues that won't be easy to fix. One of Hamilton's key concerns is the car's setup. He wasn't entirely comfortable with how the SF-25 handled different parts of the circuit in Melbourne, which made it difficult for him to extract maximum performance. Heading into Shanghai, he has already emphasized the need for adjustments, not just in aerodynamics and balance, but also in how the team communicates during the race. Effective teamwork between driver and engineer can often make the difference between winning and losing, and this is something Ferrari must improve as quickly as possible. Another factor to consider is how Ferrari will respond under pressure. The team has faced similar struggles in the past: strong preseason hype followed by underwhelming race performances. If they don't start turning things around soon, frustration could set in, making their season even more difficult. This is why the upcoming weekend in China is so crucial. It's not just about recovering lost points, it's about proving that Ferrari can still be a real contender in this championship battle. With McLaren and Red Bull looking stronger than ever, Ferrari has no room for mistakes. The next few races will define whether they remain in the title fight or fall behind yet again. If Ferrari wants to stay in the title race, they need to act fast. The mistakes in Melbourne have already put them on the back foot, and with a long season ahead, every single point will matter. A strong performance in Shanghai isn't just a goal, it's a necessity. One of the biggest problems Ferrari must address is their inconsistency. While their car showed flashes of potential in preseason testing, that performance has yet to translate into real race results. In Australia, they struggled with tire degradation, poor grip, and inefficient race strategy, issues that cost them a possible podium finish. If they don't fix these weaknesses soon, they risk falling further behind McLaren and Red Bull. Another key area of concern is the growing pressure on the team. Ferrari entered 2025 as one of the favorites, yet their first race performance was far from convincing. The team's leadership has reassured fans that improvements are coming, but words alone won't be enough. Until they start delivering results on track, skepticism will remain. Hamilton, in particular, knows that time is of the essence. He didn't join Ferrari just to fight for midfield positions. He came to win. And if the team fails to give him a competitive car soon, frustration could start to build. This is why the setup changes he's requesting are crucial. He needs the car to be in sync with his driving style if he wants to extract its full potential. With all these challenges in mind, Ferrari's performance in China will be a defining moment. A strong result could rebuild confidence, while another disappointing outing might raise serious concerns about their championship hopes. As Ferrari prepares for the Chinese Grand Prix, the pressure is higher than ever. The mistakes in Melbourne must be left behind, and the team needs to prove that they are genuine contenders. With McLaren and Red Bull setting the pace, Ferrari can't afford another underwhelming performance. Shanghai offers them a chance at redemption, but only if they execute their strategy flawlessly. For Hamilton, this race is another step in his journey with Ferrari. He knows that adjusting to a new car and a new team takes time, but patience is a luxury he can't afford. If he and Leclerc fail to deliver a strong result, it will raise more questions about Ferrari's ability to challenge for the title. The upcoming race isn't just about scoring points, it's about making a statement. Ferrari must show that their preseason promise wasn't just hype. They have the resources, the talent, and the experience to fight at the front, but they need to prove it on track, so as the grid lines up in Shanghai, all eyes will be on the red cars. Will they rise to the occasion and reclaim their status as true title contenders? Or will their struggles continue, leaving them to play catch-up for the rest of the season? The answers will come soon enough.